Hello, social studies students. This is your tutorial for how to write a -2 WRA1. So this is your first type of writing assignment that you're going to do. It is also considered to be the straightforward question. As you'll see on this screen, here is an example of what a WRA1 will look like. You will have a question that will appear underneath a picture that has a bunch of different words in it. The picture can look different. There's been everything from puzzle pieces like you see here to bricks making up a wall, ingredients that make up some kind of recipe, graffiti on a wall, anything like that. Okay. The goal of a WRA1 is to see how much you know about a particular topic. And so there will always be a question down below that is really the goal for you to answer. And that question will deal with the content that you're learning in class. So it will be something in regards to globalization if you were in grade 10, nationalism if you were in grade 11, and liberalism or ideologies if you were in grade 12. The goal here is to do a couple things. We want you to be able to answer the question so that you understand or are telling the marker that you understand the terms within the question itself. Then you need to pick out some terms that exist in this top picture that would best be served to represent that question. Here's the thing. In this picture, the terms that exist are going to be correct, but there are also going to be some in there that are going to be incorrect. So they want you to be able to pick the right terms. So when you get a WRA1, the first thing you want to do is look at the question. Okay, so for this one, it says, which development has made the most significant contribution to modern liberalism? You may not have learned about modern liberalism if you are listening to this tutorial yet, but this question, regardless of which course you are in, are going to have some right answers and some wrong answers. Your first task is to go up into these terms and circle the ones that you know are potential answers, crossing out the ones that you know are incorrect. Okay, so for this question, the options that would be acceptable would be unions, universal suffrage, anti-terrorism legislation, environmental protection laws, old age pensions, and feminism. Okay, even anti-terrorism legislation is not the best, but these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are probably your top ones. From the ones that you know are correct, you are going to pick 2 or 3 of those terms, and you are going to write about them. Okay, here's how the format is going to work. Now, keep this idea of this picture in your head. If I go back to our how-to guide that you'll have and can be provided to you from your teacher, whether you're in grade 10 or grade 11, the structure is the exact same. The first thing you are going to do is do it exactly what I just said, is pick some terms and look at the question so that you know what you're going to be writing about. The first thing you want to do is you want to create an introduction paragraph. You want to talk about what that question is asking and really explain what the question is talking about. So for our example here, we would say what modern liberalism is. We would say for modern liberalism, it means you're going to provide more government. They are going to fix the problems of classical liberalism, and government believes that they should take care of some of its citizens. From then, you might want to talk about its importance. Why would some people think that this is an important thing to have? So for our modern liberalism question, the answer would be like some people would believe that it's the government's job to take care of people in society. If this were a question on nationalism, you may want to talk about why you think nationalism is important. Or if it were on globalization, you might want to talk about why globalization is important. Your last sentence of that intro paragraph will state something like, the terms I think are the most important in regards to your topic are, and then you'll list them. Now, the reason you want to pick 2 or 3 terms rather than just one is that if you pick one term and it's an incorrect term, you automatically get 0 on the whole thing. So you don't want to have that. So if you pick 2 or 3 terms, then you can have 2 good terms and 1 wrong term, and you can still get a decent mark. Okay, so for each of the terms you pick, they are going to have their own paragraph. So the total length of this written kind of depends on how many terms you pick. If you pick 2 terms, you'll have a 3-paragraph written. If you have 3 terms, you'll have a 4-paragraph written. So as you've finished your introduction paragraph, the next thing to do would be to write out your paragraphs on your terms. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to state the term and you're going to define it. So let's say we pick unions for our example here. We will say what a union is, and then if you by chance don't know the definition, go look it up in the dictionary and then put it in your own words. Okay, you don't want to write the term directly out of the dictionary because that doesn't show us that you know anything. That just shows that you can copy out the dictionary. But you do want to put it in your own words. So you'll say what a union is, what it does. Then you'll go in and you'll say how it answers the question. So for our example here, I've now said I think unions represent modern liberalism. Here's what a union is. And then the next part is how do unions support the question? So here it's modern liberalism. Unions allow people to represent themselves and to provide specifics in regards to their wage and their safety in the workplace. The government is therefore helping to keep control and people happy within their society. Something like that. Okay. Again, if you're in grade 10, your connection might be something to more globalization relations there. And if you're in grade 11, it's probably going to be more about nationalism. But you're going to state your term, define it, state how it answers the question. Then you want to bring in social studies information. Now, on this little info, it's the 30-21, so it's got spectrum, thinkers, prices, and PECA. If you're in grade 10 or grade 11, you don't know what that is. But you can still bring in a thinker. You could say in grade 10, if you have an economics question, maybe you want to talk about how Adam Smith would like some of those concepts and talk about why that is. You might want to talk about a certain element in history that would agree with that term, or an example to go with it, okay? If you can, bring in a case study to support your position or that concept. It just helps to solidify the fact that you understand what that term means. So that case study, you have a couple options. You can pick an example from class. So let's say we were doing this example with the unions. You could bring in the Winnipeg General Strike. Okay, if you're in grade 12, you know that case study. You can also bring in something from your real life. Let's say that you have started in the WRAP program and you've been asked to join the union for your trade. Then you could bring in that concept. Or you can bring in up a made up example. So come up with some example that you think would justify why that term answers the question. Once you do that, then you would go on to your next paragraph, which would be your next term. Okay, there is no conclusion paragraph. You don't need to end it with anything. It just ends with your term as you see it. One of these, when they're done, is probably about a page double-spaced, and that again depends on your terms that you pick. So remember, as a quick review, always go to the question first. In your introduction, you are going to talk about what this question means, why it's important, what it's asking. Then you're going to pick 2 or 3 right terms that are trying to answer the question. Each of them will get their own paragraph in which you tell me what that term means, how it relates to the question or how it answers the question, and you're going to bring in an example to support it. Good luck writing your WRA I.